All right, you can do that. Please lower the volume of all other audio feeds. All right, and just come on in. Of course, come in, spend a little time, not too long, and join with us. All right. Of course, we are all live on video, so you will see us. Yep, that's when you thought ugly people like Paul, Wendell, and Richard could get jobs on radio. They put a camera on our devices. Oh well. All right, so this is where you join us. So good morning to you. Of course, we got to give the results of our morning poll, and I do have one here. Yeah, Sexy San Fernando says absolutely yes.
All right.
All right, so let's get the results there. Where are you guys?
So the poll this morning, of course, was: do you think that we are spoiled by the level of subsidy?
Oh, sorry, that's my fault. That's my. I waited. I didn't realize I put the put down for the music and I cut you all off.
All right. So
there
ready?
you go. Yeah.
All right. The poll this morning is: are we spoiled by the level of subsidies that we have gotten over the years? That's the opinion of 3 of our economists. And our poll this morning: 16 said no, and 11 said yes. Is that the result you have, Richard? I guess he's not there. 16 people said no, and 11 said yes, we asked for it.
I didn't realize I was muted. Sorry, Wendell. No, yes. That's what I got to.
That's what you got now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got
So
Miss
16
Maloney.
said no, they didn't think we were spoiled, and 11 said yes, we will.
Yeah, Miss Maloney just stepped in and said yes.
So that's our next yes?
Yeah.
So that's 12.
So that's 12 yeses.
Yeah. So 1260. Yeah.
All right. I think in some aspects we have been spoiled, but I mean, I can't help but agree with Richard in terms of the things that have been subsidized that we still have real issues with them. PTSD and that bus service, especially the condition of the bus sheds. And this morning I drive down the TBR and I look at them again.
Mm-hmm.
So
I looked at the ones that you were talking about yesterday, Wendell, and you're right. They're terrible.
They're terrible.
Awful.
They're terrible.
Awful. You
Yesterday,
understand?
I paid particular attention checking them.
And both bus stops at, let's say, Mova Junction on the Party bus route, both have tenants.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but do you all see the convo between, I sent it in the group, I think, between Mariano Brown and Paula Gopiskun?
No. I didn't.
Was that in
in the
the
group.
TV when they were in the TV discussion?
Yeah.
No, I saw that. I was watching it.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, when it was on live, I had actually watched it. Yeah,
I had to laugh. I
because they got a
laughed.
little heated at a point. Yeah.
At one point, yes.
Yeah, they did get a little heated.
I'm having my breakfast in case you're wondering what it is. It's frosted flakes. That's my breakfast today. I had a banana already and a bottle of water, and I'm now having frosted.
I love frosted flakes.
Yeah, me too. I can eat it. And I don't eat it with milk. I eat it straight out the pack.
I eat it straight out of the box.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, our YouTube link is on the YouTube chat. You'll see us highlighted in yellow, and you'll join us on via Zoom. All right. Good morning to you, Mo Gaines. Good morning, gentlemen, and the Power 102 family. You guys have a blessed, safe, relaxing, stress-free weekend. All of that, Mo Gaines.
Yeah, and you can have a stress-free weekend by coming to Greedy People, which is on this weekend, actually tomorrow at 8:30 and Sunday at 6:30 at Cipriani College in Valsayn. And of course, tickets available at all our usual outlets, like the Pet Butler. I already need to use it, Wendell. The Pet Butler in Curep, Antoni's Florals in Valpark Shopping Plaza beneath Valpark Chinese Restaurant. Beneath them, that's where Antoni's Florals are. Creme Fraiche in Chagonas, Fens of Marabella in Piaco Plaza in the Trinity area, Alextronics in Arima, Jabili Rawi in Tunapuna, which is next door to Usain shop, Charflair Auto Services in Charflair, and well, that's basically it. And well, of course, the Cipriani College box office which opens today from 12 noon to 6 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually
Get your tickets. Of course, you can check out SRR Productions on Facebook.
we had a lady that came into the Pet Butler on Wednesday, and I was telling her that we have tickets for greedy people, and she said she's never been to a local play, and I said, really? I said, you don't know what you're missing out.
Yep.
So anyway, I told her it's at She lives in St. Augustine. I said it's at Cipriani. It's good parking, and they're really making noise there, bro. It's at Cipriani. And you should go get a friend and whoever and come and get some tickets and go. And she actually came back yesterday afternoon and bought 4 tickets for Saturday's show.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And that she would be a first timer.
Yeah, I met some because when we did it in South a few weeks ago, one or two people had come in. They were coming to something else. It was a gospel thing on like earlier in the week. I mean, and she had never come to a play, and she'd said, and I was talking to her, and I said, but you should. You should at least see what it's like and whatever. And she decided there and then she'd buy a ticket.
Yeah,
because she was on vacation, and she said she was bored. She had nothing to do.
Yeah, I told her walk with a hanky, because you're gonna laugh so much, water will fall off your eyes, you'll tear up, and you'll need to wipe it. So walk with a hanky. Let's say good morning going out to Katie. Good morning, Katie, joining us on YouTube via our Zoom link, which is on our YouTube chat. Good morning.
Morning, guys.
How you doing?
Morning, Katie.
Okay, I was just laughing. I was saying Richard is now moving the budget reading to Cipriani Labour College on the weekend.
Yeah, apparently.
But really, people.
I know they did some rewrites.
We always try to keep things current.
Katie, you're in the opposition response that you're saying it'll be at Cipriani. Is that what you're doing?
Collective responsibility, Wendell. Collective responsibility.
The opposition leader responds today, not so?
Sorry?
Then the opposition leader responds today in the parliament, not so?
Yeah, but I heard from what Evie said, it's supposed to be 4 hours. So I'm not going to sit through it. I'm going to wait for the highlights.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of memes created.
That ain't lasting no 4 hours. You all know that.
I don't know. Paul, every time she mispronounced something, and had to say it over.
Everybody
What are you
mispronounces
saying?
from time
What
to
are you
time.
saying, Paul Richards?
Why are you upsetting, bringing an issue to people mispronounce all the time? It's human nature to mispronounce.
But are you suggesting, Paul, that why wouldn't last 4 hours?
Yeah.
Wendell, I find you looking down on us.
Taking a serious view over mispronouncing now.
I wonder what he looked like he looking down here, like
Like you looking down on
like you're
us.
gonna shake something,
That's how you're coming across.
like you're gonna urinate or something.
Because I'm holding my device, I can't hold it up in the air. I can hold it up
Yes,
in the
but
air.
I know you're accustomed to holding things down, so that's why you can't hold it up in the air.
Oh, Lord.
So we understand why you would hold it down, because you're accustomed to holding things down and not holding them up. It's a natural default for you. So I understand.
But I heard Richard's rant this morning. I heard Richard's rant this morning from the pulpit.
Right.
And Richard, I do agree with you on the issue of the subsidy. I agree, because one of the things, and I think it's a balancing act, right? This subsidy also, I don't think many people see it this way, but when you get these subsidies, it also lowers your cost of living allowance in terms of the end, the consumer with the subsidies in place. So removing the subsidies without any other beneficial, benefit in anything else, actually would raise your cost of living and increase raise the cost of inflation as well too. So that's my view on it. If you're just taking and you're not seeing any improvement on the other side, on the balancing act, then it's really something that
there is
would have got too.
I hear you, Katie. There's an implication when you say we are spoiled, that somehow it paints this image of an indolent kind of group of citizens that are spoiled and are, I don't know, lazy, unproductive. All of that goes when you say spoiled.
There's a continuous narrative now that's being developed.
Yes,
The
and
population
as a citizen,
indisciplined,
I take
the
offense. I'm
population
sorry.
spoiled. Mm-hmm.
Richard,
Don't
stop
be-
putting, it's Friday. It's Friday.
Yeah.
Stop putting water in your mouth, right? It's part of the gimme gimme gang, right?
Mhm.
That's what you're being broad brush as. You're part of the gimme gimme gang.
Yeah, so and it's like
That's what's being
you're
applied.
criticizing citizens in a kind of way, or drawing commentary on citizens for decisions that they didn't make.
Yeah. And that's why I said this morning, and I didn't agree with you with spoiled at all. And the context, as you said, which I fully agree, has to be the conversation, or part of the conversation has to be, we don't enjoy the benefit of great state services. We don't.
No.
There's no doubt about that. We have bad roads. We have an inconsistent water supply in many areas. I may go so far as saying most. You understand? We have a high crime rate that the state doesn't seem to be able to deal with. And when you think of all that together, we have high food prices and inflation. When you think of all that together, there are immense pressures being brought to bear on the ordinary citizen. Immense pressures. That it seems that, well, or you just take. You're no brick, or you're no breaking point, just keep taking.
Yeah.
You understand? And something is wrong with that. And there's no tendency, and I'm not talking about PNM here, I'm talking about general governments of different iterations of government, of taking responsibility from governments, administrations, and maybe use that word. They don't have a tendency to take responsibility. For example, the labor negotiations that are ongoing now, and the nonsense about we can't afford. When we can't afford, but it's because you all, administration after administration, do not settle negotiations in a timely manner. So the context of we don't have now may not have existed when they should have been settled.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So the people are being asked to accept 4% now because of your incompetence when it should have been settled. I'm not talking about the PNM incompetent. The government, whoever it is in power at the time, is incompetence.
All right. And Paul, what about the time value of money?
And the time value of money.
Yeah, you're settling something now that was in 2014, and whatever that wage now, when you look at it in 2022, what's the value of it?
Look at this simple fact. If that money was given to me when I should have gotten it in those negotiations, I could have banked it, invested it, and made interest off it that you all have. But so it's worth less to me now than it was 6 and 7 and 10 years ago.
Yeah, but who do we blame for that? Because it's we
blame the state. We blame the state. I'm not blaming PNM or UNC. I'm blaming the state.
No,
the way the state operates in that circumstance.
Right. I know we're not dealing with party, right? Let's look at that issue of the negotiations, because the union has some responsibility to take with regard to that too.
The union has, to be fair to the unions, they've always been advocating for contemporaneous negotiations. It's in their interest to negotiate for their base at the time, and they have been. The issue is they are left at the behest of whoever in power, whoever the finance minister is instructing the CPO at that time. So don't blame what the union is going to say. They go in the street, they march, they this, they that, and it still comes down to when they want to negotiate and what they want to accept.
Right. So this is my question, and a genuine one of that. Is it sometimes their expectations are too high? They hang their hat too high in terms of that part of the negotiation process?
I think I understand what you're saying, Wendell, but maybe the wording is wrong, because they have the right to negotiate to the best possible value for the stakeholders.
Right.
So one may say they're pitching it too high, but that's part of a negotiation.
Right.
You can pitch for a contract. You know the contract worth 50 million. You're going to pitch for 75 million, and then you negotiate for what is amicable for both sides. So when you say the expectation too high, they must pitch for 40 and get for 25?
No, the question I'm asking.
Yeah, I know. That's how I'm answering it in that way. I know what your intention is, or I presume to know what your intention is. But I can't say that they expect too high. Because then, why we just say, Ansa Makal and Prestige expect too high when they want profits at a certain level for the stakeholders. We don't say that. So they could pitch high for the profit they call when they make the books and they present the monthly budget and then tell whoever it is to go out and I want 25% increase in revenue and X% increase in profit, whether oil price up and down. That what they holding a train.
Yeah.
And then you see,
are you referring to the 25% increase in the delivery fee?
All that, and they have to respond to the market to hit as close to what the board of directors say they project their revenue, the profit line is. You understand?
Yeah.
So they can't absorb that and keep going on at the end of the year when they present their financials. Well, we lost 25 million. The board ain't taking that.
Right, and additionally, when you have these lengthy or delayed negotiations, it then creates two strains. One, when you have that huge amount of back pay to disburse, right? It's a strain obviously on the economy at that point in time when you have to disburse this amount. Because I mean, you heard in the budget how much is being allocated for back pay alone, right? And then when people get the back pay, there's this huge spending power in the economy, right? That will create temporary inflations as well too.
But you know that's part of our culture. Part of our culture is waiting on that.
What we're saying, it should not be, because I mean, if you negotiate on time for the periods, then obviously your releases or what you earn is in consummate with what you're spending at the point in time. So it's leveled at that point in time, right? As opposed to giving bulk sums that creates overheating of the economy in certain areas, as well as creating also to a strain on the treasury.
Yeah, but look at the flip side of that, Katie. A lot of people have been able to do a lot more with a back pay than they would have been able to do if they'd gotten that extra money every month for the last 10 whatever years.
No, but that's a matter of personal financial literacy, right? And I don't want to go into the personal financial literacy of the population, right? But what I'm saying is that if you, as a corporation soul or government soul, is running this as Paul would say it, as a corporation, like one of those big private ones, you know, you don't want to have those big ups and downs in your in your financial budgets, right? So you would try to make sure it's negotiated so everything kind of stays at a level going through.
Why you feel private enterprises give bonuses at Christmas time? Because they understand that people will make better use of it then than they would have made if they had spread it out over the year. I don't think so, Wendell. I think it's mainly because they're looking at what their tax benefit is going to be. Two, they're also looking to see how well the company performed at that point in time, because most time bonuses are related to performance, right? Performance.
So right. So most of the time, that's when most companies will have their financial years at the end of that time. But I do know that there are companies that have their financial years not at that time, but give their bonuses in the middle of the year as well too.
Yeah.
Based on when that is.
Yeah,
right.
but
Good morning to Riri out in West Palm Beach, Florida. Good morning. She said, good morning all. Have a wonderful and blessed day and weekend. Good morning to Troy Marie. I think that's what it is there. Good morning, guys. Great discussion regarding the subsidies. And Marsha Pollinaire, good morning to you as well. Have a beautiful day, she says. Of course, you can join us on YouTube via our Zoom link. And of course, the link is on our YouTube channel. Just look for Power 102 FM. You can do that and look for live stream and you'll get us, all right? And subscribe as well.
Yeah. Some crazy weather we get in these days. One day, nice sun, next day, only rain. Yesterday was just only rain, and look at today how beautiful it is already. Some weird weather.
Yeah.
All right, Rampage wants to know, Steve, find out from Wendell if P&M having their customary meeting in Belmont tonight.
No, it's not Belmont. It's in Mount Hope Community Center.
Oh, so they're having a meeting at Mount Hope Community Center. I didn't see anything.
Budget meeting is at Mount Hope Community Center tonight.
All right.
The meeting that they customarily have had at Pigot's Corner in Belmont, they're doing it at Mount Hope Community Center this evening. Yeah.
All right. And we also taking your calls at 222-825-5
Yes, I'm jumping off.
and North Americans 866-525-1099. All right.
Oh. Richard, you see, if I unblur my picture, you'll realize, you'll see where your tickets would go in Rumbox. I'm actually sitting in Rumbox, right? You're getting a sense of what's behind me?
Isn't it the liquor, alcohol?
Yes, it's the displacement. Not only
Yeah.
alcohol, we have wines and all different manner of things behind it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We have a call here. Good morning.
I might pass by you
Good
today.
morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning. I'm listening to the conversation there, and the poll this morning, asks if people were spoiled with the subsidies. But my take on it, I said no. And my reason is this, right? If my father is working somewhere, and he gets an increase in salary, and he said, well, listen, I could buy some good shoes for you. I could send you to a private secondary school. I could put some good food on the table for you to eat. And maybe Christmas time I could buy a bicycle for you. Is that spoiling me? Because you are giving me something that you could afford. Okay? Now, when this argument goes on for years, going back about not depending on oil. Okay? All, as Richard Porter said, it's not one particular party. It's all the government in the state. They kept depending on oil, and not.
Big guy, stick a pin right there. I like your analogy. I like it, and I think it makes sense. But let me ask this question then. If the following year your father didn't do as well, and you didn't get that nice food on your table, you had to drop out of that school because things turned bad for him, and you didn't get a bicycle, would you be pleased, or would you understand that, or you be disappointed?
Nice question. When he was getting the extra money and he was giving me those things, he should have been putting aside for the future, right? And so that when this time comes now, and all right.
You're not answering the question, though.
I didn't answer it.
My question, I understand where you're going now, but my question is, would you have been disappointed if you didn't get those things the following year?
Yes, I would have been.
Okay.
But then you'll have make me say that I'm supposed to understand. Right? That's what you're going to say. But what I'm saying is they should diversified, because we had land in Toko, and when they opened up Dude, we couldn't get to work on the land. Okay? And the land went into the waste because we can't get to the work on the land. So, but if you had agriculture, things with agriculture, with manufacturing continuing, and they do, develop these things don't depend on oil. Because you see, right now, this budget is dependent on an oil price of $92. Pray to God it doesn't drop.
Yeah, that's a little ambitious.
Huh?
I agree that's a little ambitious.
It's only ambitious. It's only ambitious because you don't want you considering where the oil price is in context of where it can be, not that you want to present a closing deficit.
Yeah.
So your considerations are not his considerations. He promised to close the deficit, even if it's unrealistic, and he could come back next year and say, well, all the pundits predicted the oil will stay at that price, so I'm using West Texas Intermediate and all of that, because he's very good at those things.
I can't wait to hear you join the debate.
And every year...
But it's also an HSF issue, isn't it?
Exactly. And every year he will come and say, they will tell him, well, your figures don't pan out. And every year this year he said, well, I depend on the information from the Ministry of Energy, and I have confidence in them. And then you do this. And then you do this.
Hello? Wow. Hello?
Yes.
Let me ask you a question.
All right, quickly, big guy.
Quick. Something I realized when I came up here, and it might be simple. I don't know if it could work. You all depend on monthly payments. You get paid at the end of the month. So for 1 week after that, the economy is lively, and then it dies down for 3 weeks. Because Trinidad already decided to talk about a weekly payment or fortnightly for everybody, whereas they have money being circulated every week. It's just something I keep thinking of. All right, gentlemen.
Yeah, a lot of people
It's a good
Thank
point.
you.
on a daily rate, you know.
It's a good point because we have, in by and large, I mean, you have some people who are paid fortnightly.
Yeah.
You have a very smaller group that are paid weekly, but you have a huge group that's paid monthly. And
But it's
and I
spread on
hear
a daily
you
rate,
that
don't
the
it, sir?
circulation, that if you were
A
to
lot
pay,
of people, I'm saying a lot of people's pay is pegged on a daily rate.
All right.
yeah,
Good
but
morning
but
to
he's
you.
talking about when you're getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying Trinidad has a large predisposition or to be where people are paid monthly. There's a large, the way the society is set up is that a huge amount of people are paid monthly.
Yeah.
You have the second largest group of people who paid fortnightly, and then you have a smaller group of people who are paid weekly. Now, there may be daily rates in between all of those various groups, but the biggest group is the monthly payment. So I think what Big Eye is suggesting is saying, look, you have many businesses, like groceries, for example, that will know that this weekend is a big shopping weekend for them because people have gotten paid because they're end of month.
Yeah.
So there's a big circulation of money in the country suddenly because it's the end of month. So he's saying rather than having that big surge and then it dies down, why doesn't Trinidad move to weekly payments? In other words, what if your monthly salary is divided by 4?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning.
So you have the
to
money
Tammy.
circulating constantly.
Good morning, Tammy Cumberbatch. Thank you so much. Anthony Tinto. Good morning to you as well from Canada. Good morning, caller. Caller, good morning.
Yeah, I don't know if you switched me on and you wasn't aware of it.
Go ahead, Pinal.
Yeah, morning. You know, Shamfa Kojo is going to be around.
Your volume a little low. Could you just speak up a bit or raise the volume, please?
Right here.
Thanks.
Kojo is going to be around for a long while. This is the lady who said that people are flooded out because they build their houses in a lagoon. And then we have flood in other places. And, you know, she just didn't look too organized then. And then she's making this ridiculous comment about making sacrifices and so on. And we who have lived our lives in opposition to the PNM, that's the way the people vote here, you know, we didn't really feel that we were properly treated and so on. We had to go the extra mile all the time. And it's just kind of disgusting. I think she's going to have to, she's in a way replacing Fitzgerald Hines. He's getting old now. This kind of irritating court jester that stands up on the side of the debate and distracts everybody. Fitzgerald Hines was able to do that for many years. I think she's going to take that role now that he's getting a bit older. You know,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, hold on that question 1 second, Paul, and let us welcome Tammy Cumberbatch to our Zoom link. So good morning to you, Tammy. Hang on 1 second. Go ahead, Paul.
Mr. Pinal, do you think we have court justice on both sides?
Yeah, and Paul, this is the thing I like about you, eh? You always see both sides. But we're talking about a current issue.
Yeah, but I say that in the context that I say that in the context that you made some comparisons about quote unquote court jesters and distractions on either side, and I see both. I rarely see two sides of a coin.
No, I'll tell you. See, I'm not talking about what are we going to do about it, because we can't. But what I'm saying is that if we have a current issue, and we are always going to pop up and say, well, it's all around, and we do that here, all we are really doing is providing a distraction from the actual content of the conversation. Because you can drop that into anything, anytime, anywhere.
Did you hear what I said earlier about Minister Kojo's comments?
I feel that deliberate. I feel she has been cast in a role. Maybe she chose the role. That there's a budget debate going on. It will pick up in Parliament. But
I could proffer a suggestion that yes, the government sends out its forces and this is any government, when a budget is presented, the government has key people who they think are semi-articulate, forceful speakers on a platform to defend their budget and their perspective. That is natural. What I don't think is that the prime minister or the leadership in the party says, go and say Ole and sacrifice, or go and imply Ole and sacrifice. I think very often, individual ministers on either side in each administration of their iterations go out and they put their foot in the mouth. I've seen it in PNM, I've seen it in UNC, I've seen it in NAR. Individuals are not as articulate as they feel, and they go and I know what they intend to say. Even the prime minister, this prime minister, and the last prime minister go out and they have a particular intention in terms of what they want to say, and they are not sensitive as to how they say it.
Well, I think that some of them are particularly focused on aggravating our minds and distracting from the issues of the budget. Because I'm talking in the present context. But I have a question for you. Do you think the role that Wendell, the way he splices in and out and so on, which everybody does, but do you think he plays a defensive role for the PNM on this program?
Just as much as you play a defensive role for the UNC.
I don't play any defensive role for anybody.
Right. Well, Wendell, let me answer him. And Wendell, and let me tell you something. People need to understand, if that is Wendell's position, and he's saying it's not his position, that is his right, as it is your right to defend who you feel to defend.
Yeah, okay, I just want to go on that. So,
all right. So that kind of line ain't gonna work with me, because Wendell has the right as an individual to perform whatever his perspective is in a respectful manner, as do you.
Not disrespecting you, Paul. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying Wendell, you brought it up about Wendell's role in the show. And he has the right to project whatever his perspective is, whether he feels to defend the PNM, because I've heard Wendell chastise the PNM on many occasions, to be very honest.
What I'm saying here is, at this present time of the budget debate, we see where we have gone arising out of the comments of Champa Kudlow, right? And I mean, is this really what it should be? But I'm taking the time to point out that this is something she's continuing from the public persona of Mr. Fitzgerald Hines, and she's here to stay, and we better get accustomed to it. Thank you.
I acknowledge but disagree with your perspective.
Mr. Pinal, let me tell you something. You're very good at disrupting a conversation and twisting it to suit you. You're real good at that. I have to tell you. But as long as I have breath in my body, I in UNC Crow are reminding the country what they did. You understand? As long as I have breath in my body.
Let's bring in Tammy, and good morning to Jerry. How are you? Your camera is off, Jerry.
Thank you for your patience, Tammy.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience. When she was being entertained, I saw her smiling and grinning so often.
Yeah. She was at a play called Greedy Folks. Morning, Tammy.
Good morning, everyone. Morning.
Morning, Tammy.
How are you?
I am great. Today is Friday.
Oh, yes. Do the dance, Tammy.
Woot.
That we do.
So, yes, I listened to the conversation. I tuned in since the beginning of the show. So I did follow. And I find it very unfortunate that we find ourselves discussing more tone than understanding the budget, understanding the importance of educating the public on different decisions that affect our economy. That is extremely unfortunate, because I think we are in an era where we are in the age of information, and it's so dynamic that we should manage that information to the extent that the government and decision makers ought to take a more responsible approach and take this opportunity in this age to educate and empower, because through education you are empowered. And then we always descend into this cesspool of bantering and demeaning one another, and we lose sight and focus of what the real meat of the matter is. I truly find it unfortunate. particularly in this age where we have so many, we have a cross section of people being interested in the conversation, and why are we now discussing, the impact of what a minister says, just before, in fact, the budget is going to be debated. I know we really need to revise and revisit how our conduct. I truly believe that.
Don't worry, Tammy. The conversation will switch next week. After Mrs. Prasad Bisesa has a say, and they say certain things, the conversation will switch. We get accustomed to that.
No, but even so, in as much as I said that, first of all, now this is not about the program. We see this is not about the program agenda. This is more about on the national front and encouraging sober, organized, critical dialogue. And it may descend even more after today, which I find that it is highly annoying.
Tammy,
yes.
You see, your idea of sober dialogue may not be my idea or Pinal's idea of sober dialogue. We tend to think there's this universality running through all of us, and there's not. That's a presumption that's erroneous.
It's a dangerous presumption, yes.
Yeah, because your idea, what right for you might be right for me, might be right for Mr. Pinal, might be right for Wendell, or what is sober thought and critical thinking may vary just as much.
But
just to provoke Pinal a little more, the word sober and the UNC don't fit hand in hand either.
I had a feeling, I chose a wrong word, but I meant it in the context of really pushing that critical thinking aspect. I am a champion for having, discussion that benefits, that sends us in a better place. And we really, we will have the conversations at the pavement level. We will have it. We can't deny that's the nature of us, to engage in all sorts of, pedestrian kind of discourse. But that aside, those who are in the position of making policy, directing the policy, take this opportunity to inform and educate. And perhaps, I think, even particularly in relation to subsidy, which is a critical topic as far as I see. And you want us to shift our patterns of consumption. You want us to adopt a better understanding of what personal responsibility. Okay, so take the opportunity to educate, take the opportunity to engage us in a kind of dialogue that would have us reflect and revisit, as opposed to using, speaking with such a tone that we focus more on feeling disrespected. Even that
offensive language. You've been trying to be so careful. That's what happened to you. You're not constantly back on that. What some consider offensive language?
Yeah.
That not necessarily grounded in accuracy, quite frankly.
Yeah, we passed that.
Yeah.
That's like that's like losing the sense of an argument, because we now focus on what you say and how it sounds, and you're criticizing me, it gets personal, and then we lose sight of what the conversation is. Not in 2020.
But I think part of leadership though is how you navigate those conversations. And part of leadership in terms of trying to balance what you're trying to say and how you think the message should be put across and being explained to the public in a, as you said, sober manner. Leaders have to understand read the room who you're talking to. And sometimes it's difficult. I recognize sometimes it's difficult because you have disparate views in a society that
and they're talking to several different audiences at the same time. They're not only talking to intellectuals or critical thinkers. They feel they're talking to the sycophantic base or the middle ground. They're talking very often. What they're saying is crafted. The ones who have more experience have a better way of doing it. Sometimes it's because they're trying to reach disparate audiences. So they don't want to leave all the base that like the Bacchanal and the Rhetoric and the Jobs.
All right. Good morning to Anne-Marie Watson. Good morning, Trinity in Boston. And let's bring in Jerry. Good morning to you, Jerry. How are you? Thank you for holding. Where did Jerry go?
He logged
I
off.
think he came off.
Oh, he's there.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not
Oh,
seeing it.
Jerry's still there, yeah.
Jerry is there.
dropped his
All right,
camera.
Jerry will come back on shortly. Yes, Paul, go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not talking, but like, for example, when I sit in parliaments and I look at them, I keep telling you, there is a difference 2 minutes before that camera goes live. There is a difference in behavior, in delivery, in disposition. 2 minutes before that camera goes live, there is a collegiality, and they actually discuss the bills that's coming before them and ask for clarification in a really collegiate manner, and they sit in the tea room and discuss the issues in a sober, critical manner. And then when they go upstairs and the camera goes on, it is a totally different level, because they are pandering to, I think, their leaders, and they are pandering to their base, and they're pandering to who they think will respond to the bacchanal. And they're also pandering to the media in a large respect, because they know when they get out outlandish and bacchanalish, the media will cover it. Because if you stand and say, what I think about the budget is that it really addressed several key areas, inclusive of social services, and the subsidies were well managed over the last 5 years. Nobody ain't covering that. Because I know how news editors think.
So you're agreeing with me
And-
on what I said earlier on.
So very often it's pandering to what they think is a sycophantic base in many cases, and a non-sycophantic base in some instances, because suddenly the base has a legitimate support of the issue under the perspective on the issue, and sometimes it is just to get a headline.
So then
Yeah.
let me ask this question, and I'll love to give others an opportunity. Let me ask, given the cross section of the various types of media that we have now, that pandering that you talk about, isn't there a place for it? But simultaneously, you direct the conversation, you lead in an organized fashion, and because of what is offered with this cross section, you at the same time.
Is your question making a significant assumption which may not be grounded in fact? Your question seems to be based on the premise that your agenda objective is their agenda objective.
No,
But no, I understand. But
I understand the question
I understand what Tammy's suggesting, but Tammy, part of it comes from your ability to explain and your ability to have a sensible conversation with the citizenry is predicated on your history of how the society sees you and whether they think you are an authentic voice that I believe in the sincerity of what you're saying. So if as a speaker, I don't trust you, or I don't like you, or I have serious reservations of how you interacted with me,
or your history has been
generally
inconsistent
in the past, then it means at the point your credibility to me is waning. So I'm already starting off with a prejudiced ear to what you are about to tell me. So you have to speak. So you have to cultivate an attitude of authenticity and sincerity and approachability if you want citizens buy-in from way before.
Yeah, but you have to do that from day one.
Right, but I think that is where the opportunity will come to reconfigure. Perhaps it is rooted, as Richard said, it is rooted in how we perceive our roles on both sides.
Yeah.
And so you manage that by taking on a new approach, and while you fix in-house, you take the opportunity to communicate and to, redesign, elicit a followership and get our conversation going. I think
Tammy, are you a mediator?
I think mine naturally, not professionally,
Okay. You have some serious mediation skills there.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
Thank you. So
Tammy, thank you so much for joining us this morning on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Jerry.
I like your perspective.
Yeah, and thank you, Katie, for joining us on our YouTube channel this morning. This is where we're going to end it. We'll do it again next Friday. where you'll join us via on YouTube via our Zoom link, which we normally pay. So thank you so much. All the best to you guys. Have a great day. We continue. Let's get into our 8 o'clock news brief. And it's all courtesy the wonderful folks out at Champlain Auto Services.
This is your news.